So, credit funding. I'm very familiar with this, but I'm going to act like I'm not. So, let's just start from the tippy top. What is credit funding?
Credit funding is leveraging your personal credit for access to unsecured capital. Specifically, this type of credit funding. You have multiple types. Some of them want collateral, business plan, all that stuff, but that's not required with our program. Leveraging a 680 or better, preferably in the 700s, credit score. No proof of income, no business plan, no proof of employment, no collateral. Just it's only backed by your personal credit worthiness to gain access to anywhere between $20,000 and $250,000 in unsecured capital.
So this isn't like lines of credit and like credit cards, and
specifically
then
credit cards. Some of them, installment loans. We prefer the credit cards because it's revolving. But some people's situation, they prefer to have a set amount every month, and that can be, access upon request, or if their profile meets those requirements, and that's what they specifically need for their endeavor. But we prefer the credit cards because, it's revolving. It's going to keep coming around. There's no payoff date. Keep making the minimum payments if you need to. And the monthly payments are lower than installment loans on a credit card, depending on the APR. So the better your credit profile, the better percentage you'll get. And those lines can increase. You can't really get a increase in your limit with installment. You can apply for another one, but with a credit card, you can always increase without getting too many inquiries on your credit report that'll pull your score down or cut your line. Because that's been happening lately. If somebody requests too much, too fast, they'll cut the line. Like, you're too desperate.
Okay.
Really just, little tricks to the trade.
Right. So you said unsecured capital, like, so I don't got to give him my title for my car or a house or give him any gold or silver or anything like that?
None of that. It's backed purely off of your credit worthiness and your credit score. How good do you look on paper? Do you have any bankruptcy, judgments, too many inquiries, high debt utilization? They look at all that.
High debt, like if I got a credit card and it's $1,000 credit card, but I don't use $900, that's considered high debt.
Yeah, you don't look too sexy, They don't want to lend you anything because you look very basic and miseducated and desperate.
Oh, man. Dang, I ain't trying to look like that. Okay, so basically if I got high balances, let's say I got a credit score in parameters. You said 680 to 750? Is that what you said?
680 and above,
Okay, so 680 and
above that, but preferably in the 700s. Because, once you get, let's say you hit 3 different institutions, $20K a piece, that's $60,000. Those 3 incomes you might not hit. You might apply to 5 and get approved for 3. And those inquiries will pull the score down. So you want to have enough wiggle room, a 10 to 15 point wiggle room above 680, to still be above that threshold once it's all said and done. Once those inquiries stick to your report and they go back and look at it again when it's time for you to do a limit increase. You can do those every 90 days.
Oh, okay. Okay. So this is like unsecured capital. I don't have to put up any collateral, gold, or my title to my car, nothing like that. And you say you focus predominantly on credit cards.
Mm-hmm.
Correct?
Correct.
Okay.
We have other options too, MCA loans, merchant cash advance, based on what you already generating in business. But this is specifically personal, so you don't even have to have a quote-unquote business with the EIN and all that intact yet. It makes sense to apply these funds towards something like that, but you don't necessarily have to. I mean, you could buy your grandma a new house if that's what you want to do with it. I wouldn't advise that, but it's literally like unsecured. You can spend it however you want to spend it. And that's why I stress so much about somebody having a plan.
Right, and that's what I was going to say. So, like, let's say I have a score of 740, and I come to you, and it doesn't seem like I have a real plan. Are you still going to give me funding?
No.
Because I want it clear. Yeah, I just want you to be clear.
Yeah, coming to me is you. Without saying too much, there are people and things put in place to stop people from getting access to this kind of money. They want to keep us enslaved. You know that. Keep us in bondage. By coming to me, you get around those roadblocks, those institutions and gatekeepers, so to speak. So I kind of have to discern and play gatekeeper, because once you get past me, you're getting straight to the underwriters. It's time to get the money. It's not, let me see this. What's your 3-month plan, 6-month plan? What are your P&Ls? What does this look like? How much are you grossing? None of that is being asked. You get around all that and get straight to underwriting, pre-underwriting assessment. How much do you need? What do you look like on paper? And we can get you this cash within 10 to 14 days. And it's in your hands, active. So if I'm sending bad leads, that's going to make it's going to make our company look bad.
Right. That makes sense.
So I can't do that. Plus, I don't want to be the last person. Toran got me all this money, and I didn't have a plan, so I'm $80,000 in debt. He didn't tell me, or I didn't know, or educate yourself. Have a plan first. All wars are won or lost before anybody steps foot on the battlefield. You got to have a plan before you need to know which direction to run the ball once you catch that punt return, so to speak. Who's blocking?
Fail to plan, you plan to fail. I've heard that so many times.
Mm-hmm. And the clock is ticking. As soon as you get these funds, the clock starts ticking. You need to have a plan. And it's ideal.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
For real estate investors, startups, entrepreneurs, that's who it's ideal for. Get your feet planted. You might need some seed capital, some startup capital. It's not the end all be all, but it will definitely buy you time while you're generating the revenue through the business, and then use those proceeds without commingling funds to reduce that debt utilization, and then go back and get some more. If you handle it right the first time, you can get more and more and more and more. I've only seen it happen twice or maybe 3 times, but I had a couple clients who did everything they were supposed to do, and I believe the first round of funding was about $80,000 to $90,000, and came back 90 days later, got 100 more. Came back 120 days later and got another 85, I believe. So it's not really a limit. The only limitation is yourself and how you handle these funds and how responsible you are with them.
So basically, saying like if I go through I can go through the first round, and round of funding. Let's say altogether I get $80,000 in available credit and capital. So like maybe I got a couple lines of credit, and I got a couple credit cards, and it all equals up to $80,000. So I can utilize that or a portion of that, and as long as I make the payments and don't mess with the utilization ratio too heavy, I can go back in like 3 months and get another $120,000.
Correct.
but most of the time, do you or I guess in your last contract position with this, did you see a lot of people without plans, never able to make it to that second round or that third round of funding because they messed up the first one?
Not without a plan. They had a plan. The ones who did that, they had a plan, and they were going to hit that goal with or without it. They were going to find a way. People that I love dealing with, I love doing business with. Some like one or two people made it through the cracks, and were able to get a second round, but it wasn't much because they used too much of their ratio was too high.
Okay. Yeah, so basically, like if I get funding and I mess it up, I might as well just
it's a wrap.
Not even hit you up for the second round or the third round because I'm a silly man. Basically.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna just have to refer you to somebody who can help stop the bleeding.
Okay.
Because it's not hitting the lottery. It's debt, and all debt is not bad debt. This is good debt if you use it for the right thing. You go buy a bunch of cars and jewelry, then that's gonna rust, rot, and depreciate. That's a liability. But if you go and put it into a single family or a down payment, or earnest deposit on a commercial property, or into something that is going to generate a return on investment, and it's an asset.
Right, and I like that because, we definitely want to stress that, there's no such thing as free money. And any type of funding, especially on a credit score, you got a good credit score, a pretty good credit score. But, I mean, if you mess up the funding, you don't have the correct plan or what have you, not only is it your fault, but depending on what it could be as long as 7 years before you have another credit score like that. And that's just not the situation that we're looking to put brothers and sisters in. We're not looking to get you into more debt. We're not looking to get you into a worse financial situation than you were in the first place. The fees involved with setting this up, referring it, and getting clients through it is not worth messing people up and messing up their credit and stuff like that, because ultimately that reflects badly on the brand. Given enough time, you got enough people who mess up their credit, enough people who saying, Toran or Sot, helped them do it, and they messed their credit up, and now they're worse in the spot. It's gonna take away from the brand, the foundation, Toran, so on and so forth. So it's not only a practical and security type protocol for you as someone who's coming and looking to get funding, but it's also a practical security protocol for Toran and vicariously me, because I'm introducing y'all to Toran. So it's definitely a situation where if not utilized properly, it can mess you up. If you own property, if you have vehicles, so on and so forth, you're going to be dealing with creditors and you're going to be dealing with litigation and defaults on cards and stuff like that. And depending on the amount, they will hire attorneys to come after your assets. So, no, and that's not a good deal. It's not fun. And it doesn't feel good being in one of those situations. So we're just looking to avoid, I'm telling you, correct information applied correctly. And that's really all it is and really all it needs to be. So I guess, the next thing is, go ahead.
I want to add to that, man. We definitely need to, if you're looking to get funding, have a plan, because we're going to pick it apart and make sure it makes sense. And it's not like, I'm going to hold your hand, this doesn't make sense, or I wouldn't do that. Take it for what it's worth, but off top, if you are not structured properly, you set yourself up for more, I don't even know how to, you need to cover your ass. Let me just, that's what needs to happen from the beginning. So that's what those consultations need to entail, how to protect yourself while simultaneously building your business and putting that capital towards what it is that you're trying to pursue, making sure that that will provide you a substantial enough return on investment so you can see a profit as well as settle the debt, you know, pay down those balances and go back and be eligible to get more, to continue. You know, and I'm not going to say too much on the air that's for the private, but that is a profound step. Like, the people who have trust that are set up properly and everything is classified correctly, everything is substantiated, those are the ones who succeed. The ones who get funding and come straight to SOL, get properly structured, and then while simultaneously putting their plan in motion, because it goes hand in hand. You're doing everything on your personal and then just throwing money at the business. You don't want to get caught up in public controversy. It is an easier way. There's a more sound way of doing things, and, you know, I don't want to really spill the beans or whatnot on live on air, but that's important. Get structured properly. If that's not a part of your plan, you know, go ahead.
I'll spill the beans. I like stepping on toes, man. Y'all know me, pancake them. Look, so basically, let's say you get a 720 score, right? You own a car. You might have some stocks. I don't know, a 401k. I don't know. Maybe you own a house, right? You do some funding, right? You run up credit card debt of like $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. Let's just say $50,000. You had 3 credit cards, and all of them together were $50,000. One was $20,000, you know. One was $10,000 and the other one was $20,000. And you ran up all the cards. You balled out. You were chilling. You know, you got the best of the best tree. Like, you were just, you know, doing the dance, how I like to say. And you're not servicing the debt. All right. So here's what the credit card company is going to do. I'm telling you this because I know what these litigators do, because I used to live in the courtroom. I used to just love it. I used to go and watch people in court. I used to just go watch and see how it happened. And, you know, I'm the brother that will put in my paperwork. I will check into the court at 8 o'clock on the dot. As soon as they open that door, I'm checking in. Everybody else come in, check in, but they will call my case last because they understand, you know, first of all, I put them on notice. I don't like to create a controversy in the public. I'm not participating in public controversy or alerting the public. And I know they respect that, but yeah, they definitely call my case last. What I'm telling you is this. You ran up $50,000 in debt. You didn't service it. It's all good. You know, you balling out. You got some chains, you know, whatever. I don't know. Dancing, ghost riding the whip, whatever. So you're not making the payments. Here's what the credit card company's going to do. They're going to let the late payments and the fees add up for a few months. You're going to get automated calls. You know, the computer's going to handle it. But when a human touches this, because that's what's going to happen, it's going to trigger something, and there's an office or a specific of the credit card company. Specific, what am I looking for? What I'm looking for. Whatever. It's a specific part of the company that deals strictly in collections and litigation. Okay?
Risk
and they know
recovery.
what they're doing. Right, that recovery. They know what they're doing, and the head of their department, if not all of them, are attorneys or some sort of legal counsel. So what they're going to do, first and foremost, and those who've been through court or been through anything like that understand what I'm about to say, they're going to go through discovery. And they're going to take the name of the debtor who owes all this credit card money, and they're going to run it through the city records, databases, and they're going to, you know, through their friends that finance vehicles, they're going to run it through their friends' databases, you know, banks, their friends, like a bank. So their bank friends, they're going to run it through mortgage, all that stuff, and see what comes back. Check it out. Now they're gonna see you got a car, and you might have a house, and of course, it's not all paid off. Of course not, but they're gonna see it. They're gonna find it, and then what they're gonna do next is, oh, this person has assets. So what we're gonna do is we're going to pursue a collection action against this person. Now, all your house, your car, all this stuff is still in your name. The business, you didn't properly classify it, so you got to claim the business income on your individual income, and all of that stuff. Anything titled in your name is up for an attachment of a judgment. Creditors, credit card, anybody. Now, what the credit card company is going to do is they are not going to sell that debt. They are not going to sell it to a third party. They are going to pursue the debt themselves. So the Third Party Debt Collection Practices Act does not apply. Or the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, I'm sorry. It doesn't apply because they're pursuing their own debt. Now, you can do your dance or whatever, but more than likely, due to ignorance and lack of understanding, they're going to win that action. So the judge is going to issue them a judgment in the amount of, whatever the credit card is. Now, please believe, they say you got 3 credit cards, all 3 of those companies are doing the same thing at the same time. It's just like when they run your credit, if they see you got too many inquiries, you're looking thirsty, they're not going to extend you credit. But if they run your credit and they see that other institutions are giving you credit, they're going to give you some credit. Same thing on the collection side. If they run your name and they see other institutions are preparing an action against you, they're going to get to cracking because it's first in time, first in line. And what they're going to do is they're going to force you into an involuntary bankruptcy. They might even join the action because they know that liquid, you're not worth $50,000 plus fees plus interest or whatever. Liquid, after they force bankruptcy, force you to sell your company, force you to sell your car, and force you to sell your property, that they're probably all together going to get about $50,000. That's all you got, because the rest is the mortgage, the rest is the car payment. Force you into involuntary bankruptcy with that judgment, probably join in the action as, concurrent complainants, and then liquidate your liquid assets after the bankruptcy. So not only are you going to have bad credit, you're going to have a judgment on your credit, you're going to have a default judgment on your credit, and that you have an involuntary bankruptcy on your credit. And this is the perfect, might be a little extreme, but this is the perfect example of the type of problems in hot water that you can get yourself into, dealing with funding. And I deal with, clients who have, similar issues and whatnot, not because of similar situation, but similar issues. And when an action is pending, it's called lis pendens, when it's on property, sometimes on vehicles. When an action is pending is the worst time to try to figure out how to defend that action. You need to figure out how to defend that action.
When the house on fire.
Right. You're going to need to figure out how to defend that action before it is absolutely necessary. And if you aren't going to figure out how to defend that action, do not place yourself in a situation that will require you to defend the action. Period. So it's real serious. These fools are really good at what they do, and they will get their money. They definitely will get their money. And please believe, I've gone up against attorneys by myself. It's very intimidating. If you aren't confident in your knowledge with regards to commercial law and so on and so forth, they are going to punk you out of your position. And I mean punk you out. All my brothers and sisters know what I mean when I say punk you out. And we've all seen someone get punked out of their money or their parking spot or their lunch or their clothes or their manhood or sisterhood or something. And they will sit in that courtroom with the judge and all the bright lights and the microphones and the bailiffs and all that stuff and punk you straight out of all your wealth. All of it. So when we say, you need to have a plan, this is why you need to have a plan for what I just described. Because without a plan, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. I'm telling you. It happens quick. People get complacent, they get their money, they get, I'm chilling, all of a sudden, oh my God. Damn, there's an action against me. I should have, would have, I could have. That's the worst time to be. The worst time. And it's nothing worse than, me wanting to help somebody and I can't. So, please understand, please believe, please don't play. This isn't a game. So, let's go over the requirements for funding real quick, man. So, credit score above 680, but you usually want to be in the 700s. You already said that there's no income verification. You already said that there's no employment verification. Are there any other requirements besides me just having, a 700 plus credit score?
Your revolving balances need to be below 60%, preferably under 30, but below 60 is a requirement. You look even better the lower your debt utilization. So if you have $10,000 in credit right now, you don't want to be using 6,000. 60% of that is 6,000. You want to keep that below 3 to look the way you need to look on paper. Now, if you're going to buy a property with it later, because you can't really do too much with $10,000 when it comes to buying property, you could go use 100% of it because okay, once this is done, I have a plan. These are the deadlines. I will be able to make a profit and, satisfy this debt. And once it's back down, you can just keep doing it till eventually you don't even need it anymore. But it's still a tool for you to use. So you in order to qualify, it's got to be below 60%. Because that's that desperate mark right there. It's actually a little above desperate, but 60 is a requirement, below 60%. And that's not just credit card balances. That could be, auto loans, just collectively, anything revolving really. So depending on how you acquired your loans, anything that's outstanding, a mortgage doesn't count because that's not revolving, anything revolving, it needs to be below 60%. So if you got an actual car note, that wouldn't really be a problem. It still would affect it because now what they want to see is how inclined are you to pay back this debt? What is your ability and history of paying back debts? Are you capable? And do you have a good history of doing so? How much do you rely on credit before we extend more to you? Aside from that, you need to have 3 or more primary lines of credit with, the season lines, meaning they need to be at least 2 years old.
Yeah, that was my next question. My next question was, what is a season trade line? So that's like a credit card account or any, basically more so a credit card or a line of credit with I don't know, Macy's or TJ Maxx or something like that is 2 years old or longer, right?
Correct. Gas card, store card, credit card, It can even be a secured card, but the unsecured looks the best. Something like a Macy's or TJ Maxx, Home Goods, something like that. Gas card, it doesn't even matter. Just something that is a primary and not an authorized user. It's actually your account. and it's been there for 2 years with good payment history. 3 of those. Sometimes 2 will work, depending. We have workarounds, but you know, I want people to come prepared, come how they need to come. You limit yourself to how many different lenders will even give you the time of day if you don't have these requirements. 680 score or better, preferably 700. You know, revolving balances less than 60% of your overall credit limit. 3 or more primary lines of credit with a history of 2 years. And you don't want to have more than 4 inquiries per bureau within the last 90 days, meaning that's 12 total. Because, you know, I'm talking about the big 3, Experian, Equifax, TransUnion. You don't want to have 4 or more than 4. That's excessive. 5 or better is excessive. You don't want to have more lines on, you know, more inquiries on those bureaus, because then you don't have wiggle room to do anything else. You look real desperate, like, well, how much credit do you need? How desperate are you? You want to leave some room. And it goes hand in hand with having something above a 680. You don't want to be right at 680 trying to get your $100,000. It's not going to happen. Because the first inquiry is going to pull your score down 3 to 5 points. Now you're looking at, you know, a 677 or 675 off one inquiry once they actually start reporting. So you don't want to do that. You want to have a little bit of wiggle room. At least 15 points of wiggle room is what I suggest. But 680 is the bare minimum. Also, you don't want to have any bankruptcies within the last 5 years on your credit report. You know, there are a few situations where somebody may have gone through bankruptcy and they can be removed before that 5-year period, but that's a whole nother, you know, you don't want to have that showing up on your credit report in order to get the maximum amount of capital, because a lot of them won't even pay you any mind. Like, well, you obviously got yourself into some deep water before and couldn't swim, so we need to do a little bit. We need to see that you know how to swim before we extend this kind of capital to you. It's a monkey see, monkey do. Well, if Chase won't give you this, then why should I? You know, if Barclays won't give you this, why should I? And honestly, aside from the bankruptcies, man, you just don't want to have anything. Look at it like, I'm going to say this. Collections, judgments, late payments, you don't want anything bad. It's just like your name with your family and friends. Like, oh, well, such and such. You know, Joe Blow didn't pay me back. It's been a year. He said he's going to pay me back, and I still don't have my money. They're not going to want to. So that word gets out. Now they blogging about you. That's the credit score. That's what the credit report is. They blogging about you. They putting it all over social media. Joe Blow don't pay his bills. You know, Joe Blow robbed Peter to pay Paul. Joe Blow don't care about nobody but himself. Joe Blow don't have a plan. I ain't giving Joe Blow no more damn money. Period. And that's exactly how they're looking at it.
All right,
how good
so
do you look on paper?
I'm Tyrone. All right. Now, I don't already linked up with L. I got my private estate already. You know, I got a business, it's LLC, and I'm building that business credit. I don't care about my social. I'm ready to burn it. Are you working with me?
Okay. If you're working with L and you structure it properly, yeah, it's working.
Yeah, I'm Tyrone.
You know,
I'm Tyrone. So yeah, I got. Yeah, okay. So I'm just trying to burn it. I'm trying to, set it on fire. I'm gonna rush past the bouncer, stomp on his toes, and just set the whole thing on fire and just watch it. And I want to be able to afford popcorn and some good seats when I'm watching it. And I don't care.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to, because I mean,
because you're not relying on. You don't want to ghost ride the whip, and you don't have another one to jump into.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly. So,
and I normally wouldn't even preach that, but since you brought it up, yeah, damn right. You structure properly in the private, and you don't care about the social. I need to hear from your mouth, though. I'm not gonna, I need to know that you are structured correctly. You have a plan. You know what time it is. You know what's going on. You're familiar with the underworking, and yeah, if that's your objective.
I've been in trustee training for like 5 months. I had a car payment, but I paid it off. Matter of fact, it got repoed 6 years ago. You know what I'm saying? But I've been working on the credit, and I'm at 720, and I got 2 baby credit cards. One is like $500, the other one's $1,000, with low utilization, and I'm just ready to burn this thing. I'm ready to go. I'm in trustee training. I'm dealing with L, and I'm Toran.
Okay, well, as long as Toran don't have any assets that are unencumbered, so you don't have to, you can keep them out of litigation, then, yeah, we can have a whole other conversation. We probably need to do another show on that, man, how to use credit and funding to go private.
I already talked to Sot, and L was like, when I told him what I was doing, he told me to just, I do got a property, but I already filed the quitclaim deed with the county. Because Sot told me to do that. Because I told him what I was going to do, and he told me what position I should be in. So he told me to file a quitclaim deed with my property, but that's all I got is just that one property. And I already filed that deed for the trust at the county level last week, so I'm ready to go.
Yeah, that's a go. I mean, go for the gusto, but you have to understand it's not 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Once you do that, you need to be prepared to go private and stay there. You can be fixed over time. You don't want to do anything that's gonna cause too much attention. Brute force, like, okay, y'all are belligerent, y'all are radicals, you're a paper terrorist. You don't want to do that. There's more than one way to skin a cat. But if you're private and you're ready to go, yeah, that's it. We can have a whole other conversation in the private.
Gotcha.
That's where that's why I'm stressing having the right structure, being. Because it's the thing, man. You get 100 G's, it seems like a lot, but you eat through it so fast, man. When you especially handling business and paying fees and depending on if Bank A, Bank B, and Bank C all gave you $33,000 apiece. Once they do their due diligence, risk assessment, and everything again at the end of it all, your first, second, maybe third billing cycle, they say, hold up, Bank B gave them 33 as well. And Bank C? I think you got too much credit. Let's cut the line down to 15. They don't need that much. Because now you have your obligation is spread between not just them, but their competitors, 2 of their competitors. Or 2, they don't care if they're sisters and brothers. If it's not coming back into our pot, we're not making all the interest off you, we have to limit our risk, our exposure. And that's how they look at it. So if you know that you're going to be making big purchases or you're trying to go straight private and you want $100,000, you want all of it liquid, then it makes sense to go for the gusto. Get as much as you can and liquidate and put it straight into, what it needs to be put into. Trust account, insurance policy, whatever it is that you need to do, just get it out of the public and get it into private. And make sure none of the other assets are unencumbered. They're not unencumbered. You need to make sure everything is tied up correctly. So you can go private and stay private. And I normally wouldn't even, say all this on the air, man, but honestly, it's credit squeeze time. We know what's happening with the economy. And in the prerequisites, I wasn't trying to scare anyone away from doing it. You need to know what the hell you're getting into before you do it. It's not lightweight. It's not, you swimming with some sharks and they will bite your ass. They are not playing. So you need to make sure you know what you're doing when you get in this water, and have a real plan. Because now your credit is going to go, building it up, it takes time. It's slow. The rise to the top of a roller coaster is always slower than that fall. You get to the peak, that's what's going to happen to the credit score. But as long as you got everything in the private structure correctly, it's not going to be an issue. You sit there and laugh at it because you know what it is. And there are alternatives to being able to dance in the public, and sleep in the private, if that makes sense.
So what's the timeline? Let's say I'm ready to get started tomorrow. So we get started tomorrow. I'll hit you up, actually I'd have to email Sot, third person, but and then we get on the line, we get it set up. So what's the timeline? Like, how long am I looking? Best case scenario, like my credit's good, my utilization is low, and I'm just ready to go. Like, how long am I looking at as far as like getting that first piece of funding, or finishing that first round of funding? Is it a couple
we
weeks,
have
or
options
a couple
to
months?
get you money within 72 hours, but on average 10 days for everything to go through. You got to go through a pre-assessment, underwriting pre-assessment. Pull your credit report, have that ready, and not a Vantage score, not nothing Credit Karma, because they off by Lord knows how many points. You can see what kind of accounts are on there through Credit Karma, but I mean, come on, anything's free. They give out free flu shots, man. Come on, pay for your credit report. Sign up.procredit.com or creditchecktotal.com, scoresense.com, myfico.com. It's so many. Get a FICO report and see exactly. That's what the lender's going to look at. They don't care about a Vantage score. They don't care about what Credit Karma said. This is what FICO had to say. And this is what we're going by. This is what our risk assessment abides by. So having everything look good on your FICO report. And if you got something small on it, I mean, it might take a billing cycle or two to get it erased. We know how to do that. I just don't pitch that. Because I don't want to be bombarded with, I need my credit fixed. I need this. I need that. That's being worked on separately. Right now is the time to, I'm already in the 700s. I'm at least a 690, 680. I'm above 680, and I'm ready to go get capital. Yeah, that can be done in as little as in days. 10 to 14 days, you have everything you need. Cash in hand. There's no money up front at all. The most you're going to spend is, worst case scenario, $200 on a $5,000 trade line to boost your ceiling a little bit, lower your debt utilization, and add another primary line to it so you look better when it's time to go get the capital. That'll take a billing cycle to report. 30 days, 45 days max. Especially if I'm going private, I don't want it anymore, then I would take, the next 30 to 60 days to get as much, spend $200 to show $5,000 reporting, so I can go back and get that. That could be the difference between $10-15 when applying for lines of credit. It can be done fast, especially if you already have your FICO report handy. You know where you stand. You haven't tried to go obtain funding from another source, or that's the last thing you want to do, because we don't know what somebody else has been doing with it, and that's how it can get real messy, and you end up with nothing. Or you end up getting raped 20%, like Sister Yvette said. That's robbery. We charge 12% on the back end after you receive your funds. You get 100 G's, you walk away with 88, free and clear. Cash. It's in the form of credit cards, unsecured credit cards. If you got patience, we can boost those lines and go get more. If you're gonna be patient, just buy a stick of gum, activate the line, wait a month or two. If you can stand it, if you can wait 90 days, I mean that could be the difference between another 35, 50, 100 grand, depending on what you're doing with it. Then do what it is that you need to do. But having access to it is where it all begins. It's not an end-all, be-all, but it's definitely a tool that can be used to go straight private. and have some cushion there, have some padding while you work your plan your work and work your plan. It doesn't take long at all.
So I hit you up. I'm dealing with you, or I mean, you ain't got a secretary yet, or some underling that you're gonna hand me off to, and I got to deal with them, and I don't even know them and stuff like that. I'm gonna be dealing with you directly, Toran.
You'll be dealing with me in the beginning. I do have secretaries and team members who, I got about 3 of them, but I have a dedicated account manager who will be running through the whole thing. That's who you talk to the whole time. You can still have access to me, but those are the ones handling the profile. It's not like, oh, let me get Toran my info and it sounds cool on the air, but it's a lot of compliance that we have to abide by. And those once that it's a contract, it's everything. We need to have permission to be able to see that information from you to apply. We're not doing anything that you can't do on your own. We just have connections that you don't have. You can go on and apply for all kind of cards right now, but you don't know which one to apply for. You don't know how to get through that pre-underwriting assessment to get the maximum amount of money. Whereas you do it yourself, you might be lucky and get $7,000. We do it for you, that's 15. So you sell yourself short. Even with credit repair, there's nothing that we are doing that you can't do yourself. If you want to take the time to learn it, do your due diligence, understand the laws that come, you can do it on your own. That's as real as I can keep it, It's gonna take you about a year to get the connections, to understand the underworkings and how it all ties together. So it's a service. You're paying for proximity, for access to some people in positions to make things happen, so to speak. That's what's going on the back end. But to answer your question, we'll have a consultation, and then once that paperwork is done, you have a dedicated account manager who will deal with you directly from beginning to end, walk you through the entire process. And I'm still here,
Okay, cool. We got about 2 minutes left on the broadcast. The stream. The live part, and then we're going to start streaming. You want to call in number 424-225-2250 if you are checking out the show online or from the website. Just wanted to make that announcement. I was going to ask you another question. What was my other question, man?
Ask away, man.
I can't remember it, man. I'm tripping.
I just want our people to be able to have access to this capital, man, and get out of bondage. That's really what it is. Like, I don't like to take a defensive approach towards the credit bureaus or credit reporting agencies, whatever you want to call them, and banking institutions. But that's your money. They charge you interest on it. So learn the game and structure yourself properly to take that and put it where it needs to go for your last name, for your family. I don't care what you do with it, honestly. Use your imagination. That's
But there is, natural laws that come involved with this.
Exactly.
Due diligence of it is to make sure that we dealing in honor at all times. So,
I just don't want you to be in a worse situation than you were before. So that's why I make sure I stress, okay, have this in position. Have yourself in the right position to prosper. I don't want to see you more. I don't want to see you months from now, oh, man, I'm worse off than I was before I did this. That's on you. You need to have a plan and stick to that plan. And becoming properly structured that is your main parachute. When you jump out this plane, that's your main parachute right there. The backup or whatever, you can work on that on the way down, but you got a real parachute, and it's going to deploy if you structure properly. Otherwise, you gambling, with your livelihood, your life. It's not lightweight.
Bottom line, if you don't have apartment, a place, maybe you're living with somebody, you got a roommate or something, you're looking to get an apartment, don't be messing with your credit. Don't mess with the credit funding. A lot of times when you're looking to get housing, these landlords, these property management companies, they run credit. If you don't have a job, you're looking to get a job. It's probably not the time to do some funding. A lot of times when you apply for the job, they want to run your credit. If you're looking to buy some property, first-time home buyer, which I highly, highly recommend for everybody, especially if you got a girl, a wife, man, husband, so on and so forth. Man, that co-borrowing dance, you can, 2 people on the loan, you're going to get way more money than one person on the loan. I don't care how much the one person makes. One person, you bring in another person, they make 30, 20 G's a year. It's going to up the amount of that first-time home buyer loan. So if you're looking to, do a first-time home buyer, purchase a property or something, you might want to wait on the funding. Unless you know exactly what you're doing. You're dealing with me. You're dealing with Toran. We know exactly what you're going to do. We know with a timeline. Because there's a timeline. If you're looking to buy a property, most banks are going to want to see bank statements for 2 months. Some banks want 3 months. So if it's in the account, if you have money in your account prior to that 2 months, you don't have to explain it. So let's say you want to go through funding, you want to get some bread so that you can put the down payment onto the property. How much you want? I want $50,000. All right, cool. So you go through funding, you get $50,000, you put it in that checking account. You have to wait 3 months before you even attempt to go through underwriting to purchase a property. Because if you don't, you're going to go through underwriting, everything's going to be gravy, everything's going to be great, it's going to be straight. And they're going to say, oh, we just have a couple more questions. You don't think it's nothing. Oh, it's something. They want to know where that chunk of money came from. Was this a gift? Is this cash? Was this a check? What was this? What was this? Man, they will ask you to explain if your account went negative at any time in those 2 months. And if you can't explain that money, you have a problem. So when you're dealing with me, when you're dealing with Toran, it's not a good time to be private with your information. It's best for us to know exactly what you're doing. Hey, I've had people tell me straight up, man, I sell drugs. I don't necessarily respect it. I respect you for telling me. But, hey, that allows me to tell you this about your specific situation. I'm not here to judge nobody. I'm just here to assist. Only the Creator can judge. I'm here to discern, to distinguish, not to judge, to define, not to judge. So when it comes down to it, that's another reason why it's very important to have a plan. Because we're going to ask you what your plan is. And depending on what your plan is, we're more than likely going to have some information or some knowledge that you do not have that is pertinent to your plan. And I can't, every single time I do a consultation with someone, they always get off the consultation saying, man, I'm glad I talked to you because you told me some stuff I didn't even think about. And that's the best part of my day. And someone telling me, man, hey, you really, hey, that thing you told me, woo, I'm glad you told me, man, because I did this and blah, blah, blah. That's what I'm here for. So, have a plan. Have a plan. The plan is important. It's absolutely vital. Vital. And be honest with your consultants. Be honest with your counsel. Because being dishonest with your counsel isn't going to help you. It's like being dishonest to your lawyer and you got a murder charge. And he's like, yo, did you ever go into this one room? And you're like, nah, I ain't never been in there, nah. So this fool go in front of the court and be like, no, Your Honor, my client's never been in the room. And then the prosecution's like, well, we found the DNA in the room. Then the lawyer looks at the client like, man, why didn't you tell me that? I could have made a defense against the DNA that they found in the room. Now you look guilty. Whether you're guilty or not, you make it hard for me to do my job because I lack specific, tangible information that's necessary for me to properly consult you, counsel you, defend you, whatever, however you want to look at it. Please understand it and get into the position. Understand, if you come and you get into trustee training or you hit me up for a consultation, I work for you. I'm contracted. You're the boss. I feel like people forget that concept all the time. So in being the boss, you have to have a plan. You have to know what's going on. You have to be very, very well versed in what you're doing. And smart people surround themselves with people who know what they don't know. I'm not going to sit around in front on Toran about credit, personal credit, and credit funding and try to talk over Toran like, no, this is how you do it. And I don't know. I'm just going to add to what he's saying because I know the man knows what I don't. So I just want to, really drive that point home. Don't be afraid to tell your counsel what's really going on so you can be assisted in avoiding pitfalls. And as your counsel, as your consultant, as your brother, as your servant, Toran and I are stressing the necessity of having a plan. And that's not because we're looking to reduce our liability and we don't want to get in trouble. It has nothing to do with that. And a lot of times, qualifying things in this manner reduces the number of people who inquire. So it's not about money. It's not about making money. There's a 12% fee on the back end, regardless who you are and what your plan is. But, like he said, there is hurdles and blocks to capital for our people. And when there's open fields to money and funding for those who do not look like us, as soon as we walk up, everything starts closing up. And I know myself, and I can speak for Toran, like, we're at a point where we're tired of doing business with people who do not look like us. This is not a situation where, come through, give me the bread, okay, peace, I don't want to see you no more. Come through, let's build. And you got to have a plan. And you got to be properly structured. And you got to be teachable and open to learning. And as well as being
I left
open
6 figures on the table last year, man. Because of that reason. I left 6 figures on the table last year. Because my piece is worth far more than any dollar amount with funding, clientele.
Let's talk about
that I could have processed, but they didn't have a plan. Their energy wasn't right. I could sense that a mile away. So I'd rather not deal with you. But, I've helped drug dealers go legit. I help strippers go legit. You got cash flow, I don't condone it. I don't glorify it, but we need to know what's going on so we can help you structure properly and live a prosperous life. We sick. We sick. We're sick. And all the money is going to do is amplify who you already are. And that's the reason why we want to know what you got going on before we don't want to give you an extra $100,000 to go, play with your nose or whatever it is that you want to trick it off. We don't want to amplify your demons. So get right within yourself and have a plan to prosper, help your family live a better life. The one you didn't have and the one you want your offspring to have, your family to have. That's what we're about: growth and development, and prosperity. We don't want anything to do with. You get what you give, and if I'm giving you access to capital, knowing that you're about to go do something detrimental to yourself or your fellow, your tribe or your anybody in your surrounding, I don't want any parts of that. Keep your money.
Yeah, that's on me.
Go somewhere else.
Right. So yeah, as we begin to wrap up here, man, you got anything else you want to, touch on?
Now is the time. Now is the time. Credit squeeze is going on.
Touch more on that credit squeeze, please. Tell me
Same profile about, let's say, 9 months ago. 9 months ago, the same profile, everything exactly the same zip code, same amount of primary accounts, exact same profile would have gotten 30 to 50% more and required less work to get to because of the credit squeeze. And it's always a squeeze right before some kind of economic collapse or economic reset, monetary reset. So that's in the horizon. That's what's going on. That's what's about to happen. So if you want to get ahead of the curve, you don't want to say, "Oh, well, I'm gonna work on it, but I'm gonna go out with the boys this weekend, or I'm gonna go out of town and trick off this weekend, or I'm gonna do anything that's not productive and put this off." That's another week that turns into another month, that turns into another quarter, that turns into another year. You still in the same position a year from now, finally ready to do something because it's fire under your ass and you need to make a move and you don't have access to the same amount of capital because they're squeezing credit. Now they want to know what you had for breakfast and who you slept with last night before they give you 10 grand. Don't put yourself in that position. The time is now.
Yeah, there's a squeeze. The squeeze is happening. A lot of people ain't feeling it. It comes from the top down, and most of us are pretty low on a totem pole as far as class and economics. But it's coming. People around me, and I'm starting to see the effects of it, which means it's trickling down. And he's absolutely right. I've seen the numbers. I've seen the charts on it, and I know the fundamentals. Because I love markets and I love watching this stuff. And there is a such thing as the credit market. It's like a precious metals market. There's a futures market. There's equities markets. There's a stock market. There's a lot of different markets. There's a money market, currency market, a commodities market. And I love watching markets. So, yeah, this credit market is definitely squeezing. It's squeezing at the federal level. The Federal Reserve is reducing its balance sheet, which means when the Federal Reserve extends money, that positive extension to a corporation or an individual or a government or whatever is positive on the person who's receiving it, but it's negative on the Fed's books. So the Fed is reducing its negatives on its books, which means it's not extending credit and it's not producing the currency at the rate that it was usually doing. Because really how it does it is it prints money and then buys bonds and so on and so forth, or, does these other things. Well, it's reducing its balance sheet, which it means it's not expending. It's reducing its expenses and its debt, which is credit. And they're raising interest rates. So in turn, this will definitely, the raising of the interest rates, once it hits the banks and it hits different markets, it's going to be beneficial. Higher interest facilitates more investment because investors are going to get more points on their return. But that also means that credit card payments and the everyday sister and brother, Jane and Joe, European or whatever, their interest payments are going to go up. The interest points on their balances are going to go up, which leads to a higher rate of defaults. And these credit cards got to write off debt and charge off debt and so on and so forth, which affects their bottom line. So when they start seeing the squeeze, they start putting the squeeze on their credit to reduce their liabilities, to reduce their exposure to defaults on their credit instrument. Plain and simple. That's how it works. I mean, as layman terms as I can describe it. And it's happening. It's been happening for the last 6 months. It's just now starting to hit, different sectors and levels of the economy, different, social classes and economic classes. And I want everyone to stop thinking in terms of race and nationality and start thinking in terms of economics. What economic class do you occupy? What economic class do you want to occupy? And funding off of a credit score is one of the easiest, if used responsibly, ways to up your economic class. You put that funding into a viable, sound investment, whether it's a business or real estate or whatever, marketing, whatever, so that it returns on that investment. So where you can pay down the credit or the funding, and then it's still making returns. So now you just created a stream of income. Multiple streams of income is a pathway to wealth. There's no other way to get there. So, hey man, I appreciate you coming on the show. As always, Brother Toran. I mean, I feel like I learn something every time you come on the show, and I talk to you a lot. So that's a good thing. If you're interested in any type of credit funding, you can email the foundation admin at welcometothefoundation.com. We are, looking forward to helping our people get into a better position so they can up their economic status and become economically relevant. And that's really what it's about, becoming economically relevant. Would you agree, Toran?
I do. It's a pleasure, man. It's always a pleasure. It's an honor. I love coming on, informing my people, informing the listeners. Just get out of the rut, man. It's only going to get worse. And I don't want to put pressure on anybody to feel I'm not selling anything. You just need to be educated. And this is the ticket. As I said, it's not end-all, be-all, but it's a tool to propel you into the private, to propel you in whatever direction it is that you want to head in. So as long as you have a viable plan and you are capable of working that plan, and we're here to help. We're not gonna hold your hand through it all, but we're here to help. If at any point it feels as if this access to capital will hinder or cripple you, we'd rather not, and we'll let you know. We're blunt people. There are some things that I would love to say right now, but it's not the time or the place. Book a consultation and we can get straight to it.
All right, man. Appreciate you, man. Time is now. Yeah, I'm gonna give you a call in a couple. Due to technical difficulties, we'll be taking no callers today. I know it's crazy. I know you're sad. I know you're weeping. But I'm just going to wrap up the show. We've been streaming. I don't know when they're going to kill the show. Blog Talk is acting special. Very interesting. So definitely. All right, man. Peace. I'll talk to you in a little bit. Appreciate you coming on the show, man. And we'll all catch you next month.
Show. Peace, man.
Peace, man. That's Brother Toran. He's a good brother, definitely a good brother. I do want to take the time and say, appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. I'm just going to say it was another great show. It was a great show. I really enjoyed the show. I can definitely say that because I didn't do all the talking. But definitely want to show my appreciation, express my appreciation for y'all, the audience, man. Look, the show started off earlier in the middle of what we were doing. What's on this? And then I created the show and didn't lose not one caller. All the callers called back in. I saw all the numbers. It's amazing. I appreciate the audience, man. Y'all some beasts. Definitely want to encourage you to continue studying, continue believing in yourself or working on that belief in yourself because you are worth it and you can do it. And I look forward to definitely assisting you in your private transition in whatever way I can. I do these shows and I bring on guests and, I'm just here to help. Like you said, we're here to help. One of the biggest things that brother Toran L and myself have in common is that we have charitable natures. Don't mistake, it can get real gangster, real dark, real quick. But ultimately, that's not our nature. That is something that we're able to do, much like you, I'm sure. None of us like to get in those situations, but test me and see what happens. But, ultimately, it's the charitable nature that the brother has that I respect, pretty much above all. And, I mean, he's got a lot of good qualities, but we just here to help. And we want to assist in the uplifting of our own people. And honestly, I'm not playing when I say I got tired of doing business with people that didn't look like me. Really got tired of it. Because we matter and we have worth. So, whatever you're trying to do, I know, a lot of people be like, I ain't got money, I got a terrible job. Well, you can do credit funding. You know what I'm saying? I bring brother on here, who's very knowledgeable and can break it down. I'm trying to offer as many solutions as I can come up with. Because we all talk about the problems all day, every day. There's other ways to do it. Start your own business, get into the trustee training, whatever you want to do. We're here for you. So through the email to the foundation, admin@welcometothefoundation.com. And let's take it from there. Continue to do what you do. Work on you. Let's all work on becoming more accountable for our actions. Work on becoming more accountable for our behavior to others and with regards to ourselves and our goals and our dreams and our hopes. Because for some reason, at some point in time, someone convinced me that having a job and working for someone else's company was more important and more valid than chasing my dreams and my passions. And as we let that go and rediscover ourselves, our inner child, our passions, our dreams, and work towards them, we become the most happy. We become the most whole selves that we could ever be. This is something that I've experienced, I've witnessed it, I've dealt with it. This is my life. I teach my life. I teach what I know. I speak on what I know. And when I don't know, I bring brothers like Toran L to talk about. With that being said, appreciate y'all. I love y'all. I'm serious. And y'all probably be like, man, these brothers don't even know me. I don't care. That's not true because I do love you. I'm here to help. And we're here to help. So with that being said, there's stuff coming, and I want to help and assist as many people as possible and capable to get prepared. There's a wealth transfer coming. You stand to become a millionaire, possibly a billionaire, if you make the right moves. No matter how much money you got right now, we'll get around that. Bottom line is get in the right position so we can be a part of the proper side of the wealth transfer. There's always wealth transfers about every 7 to 12 years, and we're about 10 years out of the last one. A little under 10 years out of the last one. And here comes that credit crunch. And for those who know, and all these other things that are going on, Russia dumping T-bonds, China dumping the Treasury bonds, the Chinese are getting out of the real estate in the United States, selling all the over like $1 billion in real estate was sold by Chinese nationals like last month or something. So, it's going down. And those who can see it, Those who can't, we're trying to help you. We're trying to help those who can. So with that being said, admin at welcometothefoundation.com. Credit funding, trustee training, private consultation, start your business, properly classify your entity, get your business credit up and running without incurring any extra fees that you already pay in your life today. Properly structure your private estate, business trust, asset protection trust, family trust. Admin at welcometothefoundation.com. Private and family foundations, 501c3s, endowments, private placement accounts. Private banking. Admin at welcometothefoundation.com. Quit playing. You owe it to yourself, you owe it to your family, you owe it to your bloodline, you owe it to the people who died horrible deaths few generations ago, so that you can be here on the process of getting you here, on the process of making sure that you stay here. It's all love, though. Welcome to thefoundation.com. Get your learn on. Always study, study, study. So what if you went to school? So what if school was boring? Now it's public school. Now it's time for the private education. Now take care of yourself. Enjoy yourself. Believe in yourself. Love yourself. Welcome to the foundation. Peace to the God.
We're going to sing all the way live. High Frequency Radio.